Good morning. Today we are starting with the topic immunity. Now, every day we are exposed to a large number of infectious agents, but only a few of these exposures results in a disease. Why? This is due to the fact that the body is able to defend itself from most of the foreign agents. So, this overall ability of the host to fight the disease causing organisms because of the immune system, that is called as immunity. So immunity is further of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. So innate immunity, when we talk about it, is because of the physical barriers, physiological barriers, cytokinin barriers, and cellular barriers also. So in physical barriers, when we talk about, skin is one, skin of our body. Now, innate immunity is actually the non-specific type of defense which is present since the time of the birth, and it is actually accomplished by providing different types of barriers where the entry of the foreign agent into the body. So in the first type, in the physical barriers, when we talk about, that is like the skin of our body, it is the main barrier which prevents the entry of microorganisms. Mucus coating of the epithelium, lining in the respiratory, gastrointestinal, urinogenital tracts, they also helps in trapping the microbes which are entering our body. Then physiological barriers. In the physiological barriers, acid in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from the eyes, they all prevent microbial growth. Cytokine barriers. Cytokine barriers, these are actually the virus infected cells. They secrete proteins called interferons, which protect the non-infected cells from further viral infections. So these are cytokine barriers. And another type is the cellular barrier. So certain type of leukocytes, WBCs in our body, nuclear leukocytes, these are also called as PMNL neutrophils, and monocytes and natural killer types of lymphocytes in the body, as well as macrophages in the tissues. They can phagocytose and destroy these microbes which are entering our body. Acquired immunity, when we talk about, it is pathogen specific. It is pathogen specific. It is characterized by memory. This means that our body, when it encounters a pathogen for the first time, produces a response which is called as primary response, which is of very low intensity, and later on when we encounter with the same pathogen and a high intensified secondary or you can say anamnestic response happens in the body. So this is due to the fact that our body appears to have memory of the first encounter. So the primary and secondary immune system, they are carried out with the help of two special type of lymphocytes that are present in our blood. These are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes, they produce an army of proteins in response to the pathogens into our blood to fight with them, and these proteins are called as antibodies. Now this is the structure of an antibody molecule. Now the T cells, they do not secrete antibodies, but they help the B cells to produce them. So each antibody molecule has 4 peptide chains. You can see here in the diagram. So each antibody molecule has 4 peptide chains, 2 small which are called as light chains and 2 longer which are called as heavy chains. Hence an antibody is represented as H2L2. So different type of antibodies are produced in our body. These can be IgA, IgM, IgE and IgG. These are some of them, and because of these antibodies they found in the blood, the response is also called as humoral immune response. This is one of the two types of our acquired immune response, antibody mediated, and the second type is called as cell mediated immune response or cell mediated immunity. So immune response we classify into two types: humoral immune response and cell mediated immunity. So the T lymphocytes mediate cell mediated immunity, When some human organs like heart, eye, liver, kidney fail to function satisfactorily, then transplantation is the only remedy to enable the patient to live a normal life. So then a suitable donor. Now why it is that the organs, they cannot be taken from just anybody, which is why that the doctors check. So the grafts from just any source, an animal, another primate, or any human beings cannot be made, since the grafts could be rejected sooner or later. So tissue matching, blood group matching, they are essential before undertaking any graft transplant, and even after this the patient has to maintain has to take the immunosuppressants all his or her life. So the body is able to differentiate self and the non-self, and the cell mediated immune response is responsible for the graft rejection. Active and passive immunity. When a host is exposed to antigens, it may be in the form of living or dead microbes or other proteins, antibodies that are produced in the host body. So this type of immunity is called as active immunity. Active immunity is slow and it takes time to give the full response. Now, injecting the microbes deliberately during immunization or infectious organisms, when they are gaining access into our body during natural infection, they induce active immunity. And when ready-made antibodies, they are directly given to protect the body against foreign agents, then it is called as passive immunity. Now, do you know why mother's milk is considered very essential for the newborn infants? That yellow color fluid, that is colostrum, secreted by mother during the initial days of lactation, it has abundant antibodies, that is IgA, to protect the infant. And the fetus also receives some antibodies from their mother through the placenta during pregnancy. So these are some of the examples of passive immunity. So we can see here in this picture also how active immunity and passive immunity, they both help in fighting the infections. Now, vaccination and immunization. Now, the principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of memory. Now, in vaccination, a preparation of antigenic proteins of pathogens or inactivated or weakened pathogens, which is in the form of a vaccine, they are introduced into the body. Antibodies produced in the body against these antigens would restore or neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infection. And the vaccines, they also generate memory B or T cells which recognize the pathogens quickly on subsequent exposures. And if a person is infected with some deadly deadly microbe to which the quick immune response is required, as in the case of tetanus, we need to directly inject the preformed antibodies or antitoxins, a preparation which is containing antibodies to the toxin. Okay? Even in the case of snake bites, the injection which is given to the patients contain preformed antibodies against the snake venom. So this type of immunization is called as passive immunization. And recombinant DNA technology, it has allowed the production of antigenic polypeptides of pathogens in bacteria or yeast. Vaccines, they are produced using this approach. They allow large scale production and hence greater availability for immunization. For example, hepatitis B vaccine, it is also produced from yeast. Allergies. When you go to a new place or suddenly you started sneezing, wheezing, watery eyes, running nose, okay, these are some of the reactions of the body with no explained reasons. So, and when you go away from that particular place, these symptoms, they disappear. Now, did this happen to you? It happens to most of us. Now, some of us, they are sensitive to some particles in the environment, and all these reactions of the body, all these reactions, all these symptoms reactions of the body. It can be in the form of cough, itchy nose, running nose, sneezing, redness, itching, blisters, or any type of undue reactions in the body. So that do happens. That is because of all these reactions. They could be because of the allergy to pollen, mites, etc., which can be due to any particles of the environment at different places also. So this response of the immune system to certain antigens that are present in the environment is called as allergy, and the substance to which an immune system response is produced is called as an allergen. So the antibodies produced to these types are of IgE type. So allergy is caused due to these type of antibodies which are produced in the body. So common examples of allergens are mites, dust, pollens, animal dander, etc. And symptoms of allergic reactions includes all these types of reactions and many more others. Now allergy is due to the release of chemicals like histamines and serotonin from the mast cells. And for determining the cause of allergy, the patient is exposed to or injected with very small doses of possible allergens and the reactions. And the use of drugs called antihistamines, written in the last line, antihistamines, adrenaline, and steroids, they quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. But modern day lifestyle has reduced in lowering the immunity and more sensitivity to allergens. More and more children in metro cities in India, they suffer from allergies and asthma due to sensitivity to the environment. So this could be because of the protected environment provided early in the life. So more you are exposed to pathogens, more of your immunity develops. Less you are exposed to pathogens in your early periods of life, more you become sensitive to these kind of reactions. Autoimmunity. It is actually memory based acquired immunity that is evolved in higher vertebrates, and it is based on the ability to differentiate the foreign organisms, that is pathogens, from the self cells. We still do not understand the basis of this, so this ability this has to be understood. In higher vertebrates, they can distinguish foreign molecules as well as foreign organisms, and most of the experimental immunology deals with this aspect. There are sometimes, due to genetic or unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells, and this results in damage to the body, and it is called as the autoimmune disease. Rheumatoid arthritis, these are some of the autoimmune diseases which can be due to hereditary, white blood cells, lifestyles, hormonal influence, environmental factors. Rheumatoid arthritis, systematic lupus erythematosus, ठीक है, mycocardiasis, skin rash, impaired vision, pulmonary fibrosis, joint pains. These are the symptoms of these diseases. So rheumatoid arthritis, which affects many people in our society, is an autoimmune disease. Thank you for today.